In this video, we'll look into a very important concept, that is functions. See, when we talk about functions, now functions you have already learned this last year. Okay, different types of functions. Remember, we were writing f of x is equal to something, whatever that function might be. It could be very simple, like an algebraic function, like a parabolic function, x squared plus 2x plus 1, or it could be trigonometric, sin x, cos x, tan x, like this, or logarithmic. There are multiple types of functions, isn't it? Now, a function in general, a function is something like where you have an input and where you have an output. You give a value for the input and you are going to get an output value. This basically is what we call as function, isn't it? Now, there is a much finer definition and understanding about function in this particular part. Now, whenever we talk about a function, you need to have an input value and you're going to get an output, correct? So whatever the input or the values what you're going to substitute, we have a set of numbers, and that set of numbers is what we call as domain, isn't it? And if you are going to input a value, you are going to get an output. So those set of numbers, that is the after applying the value of x or the input whatever you have, you're going to get the set of numbers. That is basically a range. Like when you say f of x, we can say y is equal to, let's take a simple value, x square plus 1. Alright, very simple. Now, what all values I can take for x? I can take pretty much any number, isn't it? So I can say that domain is set of real numbers. Set of real numbers. Now, when it comes to range, range is nothing but the value of y. What all values that y can take? Now, here, y cannot take a value of 0, isn't it? No matter what the value of x it is, y can never be equal to 0, or y can never be equal to any negative number whatsoever, isn't it? So, we can say that from 1 to any positive number, isn't it? So, you can say that range is nothing but all real numbers, but from 1, correct? So, range is nothing but all real numbers. See, I'm deliberately not using the symbol to write what is it. I'm just writing in terms of words. As we go on into further classes, then you will understand how to write these in the in a particular form, okay, in the symbolic form. All real numbers from 1, like 1, 1.5 to 2.5, something like this. Now, domain is what all values x can take, and what is the range, what all values y can take. This is basically domain and range. Now, whenever we talk about function, so generally function is represented by f, and we have domain and range. Domain is d, r is range. So what we are going to get is, suppose say you have a function, like take y is equal to x square plus 1. So my function f of x is x square plus 1, and domain is a set of real numbers, range is a set of all real numbers from 1, isn't it? If you have to represent this pictorially, like a picture, so we can write that on the left side we are going to have domain, and on the, so this is the domain, and this is going to be the range, and there is a function f which relates these two. All right, so we have domain and range, and f is the function. So my domain, here it's a set of all real numbers, and here set of all real numbers but more than 1, isn't it? So we can write, suppose if you have to write this symbolically, then I'll write it on the other part here. So you can say that y belongs to So y belongs to 1 plus. Y belongs to 1 plus. So when I write this, so any value more than 1 and equal to 1. In other words, you can also write it this way. So y is less than infinity, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to 1. This is the value what we can say. So this is a function. Now in function we have three types. So the first one is what we call as one to one, or you can also call it as injective. See, injective is what? Every value in the domain will have only one value in the range. In the sense, something like this. Suppose if you have A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Only one value, something like this. So for one domain element, you don't have two range. Alright. So this is injective, or you can say one to one. The second type is what we call as onto or surjective. Onto or surjective are one and the same. So what we mean by this one, you are going to have the domain and you have the range. Every element in the range has one element in the domain, at least one element. That means if you have A, B, C, D, say 1, 2, 3, 4. Now every element in the range should have one element in the domain. Alright. So if I write it something like this, then this is not subjective because 2 and 3 doesn't have any values. Correct? So this is possible. This is okay because every element in the range has at least one element in the domain. Okay? Suppose if the set is both one to one and onto, both the function, then such a type of function is called as bijective function. So bijective is both one to one as well as onto. Understood? So these are the three types of functions what we have. One to one, injective, where one and one you have only one particular image. Next is onto, surjective, where every element in the range has at least one in the domain connection or pre-image we call it. If the function is both, then it is bijective. Alright, now in the next video, we'll look into few examples of bijective, injective, surjective functions. That way we'll understand what is what. Alright.